I'm Roseanne Hetty. This is my husband Steve.
Oh,
Welcome to our historic home. Quite often people do ask us about the history of this house.
yes.
And I enjoy telling them that it was originally owned by the Chippewa Indians. In 1825, a treaty was signed with the Indians. The property did go through several owners until 1929, when the Stewart family decided to build the home.
Yes, the property was purchased by Samuel Sidney Stewart, who owned a carriage factory in the 20s and was very successful with that. And then with the evolution of the engine, they started putting motors in the carriages, and he became even more successful. 1929, he purchased this property and built a home that took 3 years to build, completed the home, and moved in 1932.
Do you remember when we first started going together? You lived on the west side of the town, I lived on the east side, and you would walk me home. And the park that the home is in was really the middle. So we would walk and look at the home.
Yes, and one evening we walked, I was walking Roseanne home. We stopped in the park under a tree and actually got my first kiss from Roseanne. And we looked up at the home and it was all lit up and there was noise coming. It looked like they were having a party that night. And I said to Roseanne, someday, Roseanne, I'm going to purchase that house for you.
I think it was about 1993 we actually got to visit the home for the first time. At that time it was owned by a prominent attorney and his family. We came to the house for a fundraiser, and we heard that they might be interested in selling, but it was about a year later, I think, when we actually did hear they were selling for sure. We made the phone call, and the rest is history.
We made the phone call and the owner said, well, we're having someone come look at the house to purchase it tomorrow, but you're welcome to come that evening if you'd like. So we did that. We came over and looked at the home and decided right then and there, we told the owner, Mrs. Philpott, we'll take it.
It took about 7 months before we did move in. The owners were having a home built, so it took a little while, but it was 2 nights before Halloween when we moved in. Kind of a scary Halloween.
Oh, you know how it is when you move into a new home and there's all these new noises that you're not familiar with, and on Halloween, and this big house, 7 bathrooms and 5 fireplaces and all kinds of bedrooms and building noises that we weren't used to. It was a little spooky, but still enjoyed it. Had a lot of fun that night.
We are doing everything we can to maintain the history of the home. Steve has added his decorative touches. The kitchen was the room that we really did the most work in. The kitchen and the small bathroom that is off the kitchen needed to be updated.
It was built for a staff that handled the house, a maid and a butler and that, but the electrical, well, there was only 2 plugs in the whole kitchen. Of course, nowadays with all these kitchen appliances, we needed to redo that room. Me being a decorative arts painter, I put my trade to work in there and actually spent 200 hours looking up at the ceiling, finishing the ceiling with a wallpaper pattern called Bradbury and Bradbury. The woods in the rest of the house, a lot of the rooms didn't need anything. They were originally built for with the best woods and the best materials that you could find. The craftsmen came from Europe, and some of them couldn't speak English, but they were the best craftsmen that you could get that worked here. And so the work that they did really didn't need to, and doesn't need to this day, need to be touched. It's all looks fine. It was maintained well, and the house is beautiful to this day.
Steve, tell a little bit about the tile.
The tile, Flint Tile Company, is a tile company that was started because AC Sparkplug, who produced spark plugs in Flint for the automobiles, had a downtime when the shift change, the model year change would come, and they didn't want to turn their furnaces off because it cost too much to let them cool down and then heat them back up. So they decided to start making ceramic tiles in the AC Sparkplug factory. They brought in some of the best artists from around the world to design tiles and produce tiles, and became so famous with that that they actually became as busy as the Sparkplug factory, and then 7 years after they started making tiles, opened their own plant in Rochester, New York. And these tiles are all over the world. One story that is kind of interesting is it's been told that the brighter the ceramic tiles in your home, the more well-to-do you are. And of course, in this home there's some really bright, nice, colorful tiles.